is number one, and that's what we continue to work with. I'd also say that cooperation and collaboration is not an option. We have to, we're going to have to work with each other. We are going to work with each other, and we are doing that very well. I'm in daily contact with the governor of Illinois and also the governor of Missouri. I've talked to them both today and yesterday, giving them an update on where we're at. Their use of the National Guard and their acceptance with us working with the local law enforcement could not be better. We've been working with each other hand in glove and keeping each other informed. So the cooperation is not an option. Everybody realizes that. Public safety is number one. I'll take questions. Yes, sir.
General Walsh, the spillway is bought and paid for. The courts have cleared the way to use it. The people have been moved out of the way. Wouldn't you have a lot fewer headaches if you just opened it up?
At this point, we're looking at it from a systems-wide perspective. If you look at the operations order says that we would operate it at 61 feet, .0 and rising. Where the concern, of course, is that that number should also reflect on where we're at with the system and how it's operating in and of itself. As I mentioned earlier, some parts of it is beginning to degrade, and we're moving resources in there to stabilize it. So we're continuing to work not only with the Cairo gauge, but also making sure that the system's able to withstand the enormous pressures from this flood. Yes.
How quickly and how much would, if you had to activate the plan, would we see in Cairo? I've read anywhere between 4 and 7 feet. How much relief would Cairo see if the plan was activated?
It's anywhere between that, closer to 3 to 4 feet over a specific time. Yes, sir.
You stated earlier that right now the order has been given for the barge to go ahead and proceed to Mineral Point. The next order would be given to charge the pipes. The next order to load it. Do you have an estimated time on when those orders would be given at each step?
No, at this point, the next step is to bring the motor vessel from Hickman to Bird's Point, as you just mentioned. The one after that is to take the barges that are being pushed up by the tow and redistribute those barges along the levee. I can't give you a time between them getting to the location at Bird's Point and moving the barges, as that's an hourly discussion between the district commander, your district commander, Colonel Reichling, and myself.
So there's still no word on when and if it is actually going to be blown?
No decision has been made. I have not taken a decision to load the pipes nor to operate the system. Yes, sir.
Just to know, talking about the trigger point at 61 feet, that's been publicly stated. A news release yesterday said that if the system approaches 61 feet with a continued rise and the integrity of the system is not challenged before then. So is that 61 foot not the automatic point, that there's now some leeway up to that point?
The operations order says 61 feet and rising. Where the concern is we need to make sure that the system remains intact, and that's what our engineers are looking at, and the hundreds of engineers are looking at. At what point do we become more concerned that the system's not going to hold? So the trigger point is, by op order, is 61 plus rising, and we're also looking at making sure that the system remains intact.
So there are two factors there.
Very complex mission, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How stable is the levee at Cairo, and how much pressure can it take?
Well, we just visited Cairo. There's many boils that are there. The boil that causes us much concern. We have built pretty much a wall around that levee. It's about 12, 15 feet high. It's the biggest boil any of us have seen, and we've got that contained right now. We're quite concerned about that boil.
How much pressure can the levee wall take in Cairo?
It's gonna behave as designed. Yes, sir.
General Walsh, actually, I have a question for General Peabody about Kentucky and Barkley Lakes.
Sure.
You said it's a little bit above 370 right now, and you
Right.
have to release all the water starting. If it's 375, any water coming in has to be released.
We have to manage the pool so it doesn't exceed 375.
Okay, we're expecting 2 to 4 inches of rain over a fairly large area in the next 48 to 72 hours. What will that do to your lake levels?
Well, it's going to bring them up, but we're also going to have to release some of the water to account for that. Now, on a daily basis, actually multiple times a day, our hydrology and hydraulic specialists examine what the weather forecast tells us and what actually happened from prior weather forecasts, run it through our modeling, our computer modeling system, and continually reassess. As General Walsh indicated, this is a very dynamic situation. It's continually changing. Forecasts and predictions are imperfect. Models are only that, just models of a very dynamic natural situation. And so we just make judgments on a day-to-day basis.
Okay, so what kind of discharges would you expect? Would that
We have to have, well, right now our discharges are around 80,000 cubic feet per second. I think we may have to bring those up a little bit over the next couple of days, but we're trying to balance the discharges with the lake level so that we also don't hit the trigger point if we can. That would require General Walsh to make a decision.
What's your current inflow?
Debbie, do you have that?
Yes, into Kentucky, about 100,000 to 120,000.
Inflow.
Yes.
So-
We will be increasing to 130 outflow tomorrow.
So-
Once we stabilize.
Yeah, but again, it changes on a multiple times a day basis sometimes. Okay?
With the operation of Kentucky Barkley now, General Peabody's been able to keep about 1.5 feet off of the current gauge. So he's added to this fight in a tremendous way. Yes, sir.
It looks like it's possible that you may have to initiate, and is there any way to have any kind of a log guess to an old farmer's farm and spillway as to how long should this be activated that the water can be back to the flood stage level? Is there any kind of a log guess for that?
To when the
To have the rivers back to the flood stage level?
I'm not quite,
Well, like 40 feet at Carroll.
oh,
I mean, I know the system is totally filled, so we're thinking of getting into back the crop if it doesn't run what we need. Is there any way to have an educated guess to when if you activate it or not, as to when the levels could reach 40 feet? Is there any kind of way to have a guess of that?
no, I've asked my engineers to look at that specifically, and it has to do with a number of different variables, and the answer to that question is, well, is it a lot of rain this year or a little amount of rain? And so the answer to that question is it's very variable, and you'd have to select, high, low, medium rain and how that works throughout the
What
year.
we anticipate is going to rain like hell, and then it's going to quit.
If you can get it to quit right now, I'd be pretty happy with you. Yes, sir.
Yes, General, what about the public notification? To talk about 24 hours notice after the decision has been made, is that still fairly accurate?
I'm going to give as much notice as we possibly can. I talked to the two governors. Every time I make a decision, I talk to the people back in Washington. Every time I make a decision, whether I can hold for 24 hours is a variable as well, and I'm going to give as much time as I can. Yes, sir.
Now, I think you said that there were 3 separate decision points yet to be made. One to bring the barges to berth point. One to what exactly are those? And is there a certain point at which there's a point of no return that you would reach?
No. The point of no return would be the order to operate the project. At this point, moving the vessel from Hickman up to where I've just ordered Bird's Point, it can still be stepped back from there. Moving the barges up to the levee, again, we can step back from there. We can even fill the pipes with the slurry mix and still not make the decision to operate. And so the last decision is the final decision.
General, sir, could we take a few questions from the call-ins, please?
Certainly. Anybody from the call-in question?
Yes. Hello?
Yes,
Go ahead, sir.
go ahead.
Yes, my name's Max Wilson. I'm a landowner directly across the river from Dorita in Fulton County. And I have a couple of questions. If the floodway was operated what level of reduction of river level could I expect? And also, my land is above the most northerly open land in Fulton County, the river, right at Williams Point, I forget the river mile, but it's where the revetment rock starts above Hickman on the Kentucky side. There's a small washout, well, probably medium-sized washout hole immediately up from that. Has that been examined lately? Because I'm concerned about the integrity of the riverbank there and what they could do to my land and the land below me.